is that another starter set is going to be produced, and the starter set is going to be about weirder or stranger things. It is going to the starting characters are going to be the characters the kids play in that series, and you are going to go on an adventure. An adventure that they played through in one of the seasons. I forget which one. It'll have 80s themed dice. I don't know what would make dice 80s themed. There, well, very well could, Jedi. There could be a Demogorgon involved somehow. So there you go. Hashtag D&D rumors. All right. If anyone else wants to sponsor some Tomb of Annihilation, hey, it's here. It's waiting for you. And I guess we'll see what remains in the brick that we busted open. Ooh, pardon me. It's this darn soda. Anyway. Let's bring up our random character generator. Now we know what the background's going to be. We're going to go Anthropologist. Anthropologist is an uncommon background because it's offered in the Tomb of Annihilation. So it's not, you're not going to find it in the player's handbook. But the theme this week is more of an adventure or these uncommon background characters. Right, Tal, would 80s themed dice be like rough edged, old school style? Maybe, or like it might be just sort of like a monotone plastic with kind of like, I don't know, light blue dye set in the numbers. It looks like it's kind of chipping out or something. Maybe. I didn't really have a clear picture of what the starter kit would look like. I want a bearfolk character. That's why I want to get a werebear model. Well, if we pop one open, then it would go to the orphanage and it'd be available for you. These dice will just be regular dice, but have sticky push-pop residue, says Jedi Crusader. And many memories. The faint smell of pizza and who knows what else. All right, let's roll a percentile. We rolled a 77. We have a male character who is we rolled a 9, a tiefling. Oh, all right then. A tiefling. And I roll this again because in the player's handbook, now you can find sub races outside the player's handbook. Sticking to the player's handbook in the race, a consideration is which part of your heritage do you favor? Whether it's genetically with your looks or maybe culturally or something along those lines. So odds or evens, we rolled odds. So this tiefling favors his human side more. It could be his human parent. It could just be he's a tiefling. Maybe he can pretty well pass as a human, but either files down or just has small horns, maybe a small tail, so that the human genetic code is stronger. Or full-blooded tiefling just really resonates with human culture more than tiefling, like a fiendish culture. That is not something that is... That's not something that is in the player's handbook. We do that here for roleplay consideration, for decision-making, that kind of a thing. Yes, a tiefling anthropologist. You want to talk about someone who can study cultures, right? He comes from TUE. Well, I mean, not necessarily as like a pure, like, a direct, like a half-elf or a half-orc, but somewhere down the line, someone had a good Valentine's Day. All right. What's his alignment? We're going to roll 2 percentile dice. 6487. That's going to be neutral, chaotic neutral. By the way, tieflings are medium-sized creatures. There we go. Chaotic neutral. So, impulsive, selfish, maybe self-absorbed, but, you know, he can do selfless things and very well may. It's just that, you know, he looks out for himself, and once he's taken care of, he's fine. You know, he'll help others. You know, he's kind of whimsical, very impulsive, right? The alignment can be the expression of the character. All right. What level? At which level are we going to generate this character? We rolled a 7, so we're going to generate a level 4 character. Now let's roll a percentile and find out if that stat bump at level 4 is just that, 2 points to 1 ability score, 1 point to 2, or if it'll be a feat. We rolled an 84, so he is going to take a feat instead of an ability score improvement. All right, background is going to be Anthropologist. Nemi, is that my kid? Files horns, wears his tail as a belt to hide it, says Jedi. I swear I'm not the baby daddy, says Nemi. He's married to his work. There we go, Azrael. Wait, is he a jerk? We'll find out. We'll look at the personality. All right, so we have an anthropologist, and now, which class is this character going to be? We're gonna roll a d12, the big golden button right here. 3. A cleric. Now, clerics have 7 domains in the player's handbook that they can represent. There is an 8th domain that is in the Dungeon Master's Guide. Hang on one second, sorry. So the 8th one, the Death domain, is in the Dungeon Master's Guide. For purposes of the character creation we do on the channel, we reserve that for evil characters. Although I'll tell you, as Celine on Tuesday shows, you don't have to be evil to play a Death Cleric. So when I go through, you know, I might end up refining this. Maybe I'll just add in Death. I don't know. We'll see. That's a bridge to cross, not tonight. So we have a cleric, and now I'm going to roll a d8. I'll just re-roll an 8 if I get it. A 4. So it's not even a thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. A nature cleric. Well, we're building an exploration party here. Speak with Dead would be a good spell for an anthropologist. Yeah, in fact, clerics will end up getting that, and I do agree. I do agree, Azrael. That's a good call. All right, for a tiefling, let's give him some physical stats. Tieflings start at 4 feet 9 inches tall, and we're going to add 2d8 inches to his height. Ooh, we're adding 13 inches. All right, so that's going to be 5'10". Nice. We're going to take that same 13 and multiply it by 2d4 by 7. So that's going to be 91 pounds. We're adding to 110. So he is 201 pounds. Standing at 5'10". He might carry some of the weight in his tail. Just saying. And of course, horns. Even if they're small, because if we want to describe him as more human, that's perfectly fine. All right, now what is his age? We'll roll a percentile and find out. A 92. Oh, we have a venerable. We have a venerable tiefling. That's column 6. So tieflings who are venerable. So This is probably his last adventure. Nature has called. And it looks like maybe he wants to... And you know what? We're just talking about going through and finding our history, finding our heritage earlier in the stream here, right? Doing some discovery. What if he realizes he's getting old and, you know, on a whim as his last adventure in life, you know, he has stepped up. He's been tapped by this god that has the nature domain. And he goes out to search for ruins that is evidence of his heritage and his people. I think that alone sets the stage for a very interesting adventure. Let's roll a d10, though. 5. He is 75 years old. By the way, how much is adopting a mini? Oh, hey, Coffee Cat. Nemi, if you go to our Discord, there's a channel. You got to scroll down a little bit. There's a channel called Adopt a Mini. And the information is there for you. I have arrived to be a minor nuisance. So, what is, why are you a minor nuisance? I am an excite to paint Mordecai. All right, we now no longer need our character generator. What we do need, because we start by exploring the backgrounds first, is to discover who our character is. What is our character's character? The Nemi army shall rise. You have always been fascinated by other cultures, from the most ancient and primeval lost lands to the most modern civilizations. By studying other cultures' customs, philosophies, laws, rituals, religious beliefs, languages, and art, you have learned how tribes, empires, and all forms of society in between craft their own destinies and doom. This knowledge came to you not only through books and scrolls, but also through first-hand observation, by visiting far-flung settlements and exploring local histories and customs. So our skill proficiencies as an anthropologist are going to be insight and religion. We'll get 2 languages of our choice. So tieflings get tiefling, or not, they get tiefling. They get infernal. You could argue with your DM and say, well, I have a fiendish history. Could I take infernal instead of abyssal, or abyssal instead of infernal? Your DM might say, sure, that's fine. You know, you argue it out. Common. And then we get 2 languages of our choice. Equipment: a leather-bound diary, a bottle of ink, an ink pen, a set of traveler's clothies, a trinket of special significance. Now, because we started with the haunted one, I still have the Curse of Strahd open, and we're going to choose a gothic trinket for this character. So this will be the 3rd character that has a trinket that we'll pull from that list. As apparently these gothic trinkets are evidence of these people that existed. That's going to be the foundation for the adventure they're going to go on. And a belt pouch with a set of 10 gapuz in it. Cultural chameleon. Before becoming an adventurer, you spent much of your adult life away from your homeland, living among people different from your kin. You came to understand those foreign cultures and the ways of their people, who eventually treated you as one of their own. One culture had more influence on you than any other, shaping your beliefs and customs. Choose a race whose culture you've adopted, or roll on the adopted culture table. Well then, let's see who adopted our tiefling. Roll a d8. 2 dwarves. And there we go. Feature, Adept Linguist. Adept Linguist. You can communicate with humanoids who don't speak any language you know. You must observe the humanoids interacting with one another for at least 1 day, after which you learn a handful of important words, expressions, and gestures, enough to communicate on a rudimentary level. Suggested characteristics. Anthropologists leave behind the societies into which they were born to discover what life is like in other parts of the world. They seek to know how other races and civilizations survive or why they did not. Some anthropologists are driven by intellectual curiosity, while others want the fame and recognition that comes with being the first to discover a new people, a lost tribe, or the truth about an ancient empire's downfall. Here are the 2 personality traits of our character. We're going to roll 2d8. 1 and 3. Whoop. And then 3d6. 4, 1, 6. For the ideal bond and flaw that we're going to look at in the background here. Nemi's gone on a slaughter. So he's a horned-tailed, pudgy Indiana Jones. Kind of. Although he's probably... Indiana Jones might be more of the archaeologist than the anthropologist. I usually do things by cultural region when I DM. Oh, can you specify what you mean by that, Coffee Cat? Oh, Azrael saying the Jedi more like Henry Jones Sr. Got it. All right. Yeah, a.k.a. Sean Connery. Nemi, now you can't slaughter all the worthy mortals because then who's going to be left behind to make more worthy mortal babies? Yes, dwarves, Jedi. Hey, don't say I'm a bad dad dumping a child on the 7 dwarves doorstep. Jedi says, tell us a bit about yourself. Well, I'm a 1, a 3, a 1, a 4, and a 6. Huh? Meaning languages are based on region. Oh, yep. Gotcha, Coffee Cat. And, yeah, in many D&D games, and I'm guilty of this, where, you know, common is common. But look, is that how even our society works? Look at how languages, merge and blend or conquer or do all sorts of things. So that is not a bad way at all to, not even just the common language. I mean, the dwarves of one mountain may be able to maybe speak to the dwarves of another one. They might share an alphabet and some common words. But, you know, you have Spanish and Portuguese. In fact, look at all the Romantic languages. Italian, French, Spanish, and Portuguese. And there is some overlap. You can kind of understand, but they also have their own unique things. All right, what's our personality? Oh, you know what? Our personality trait is only on a D6, but that's fine because we rolled a 1 and a 3. Alrighty. Personality trait number 1. I prefer the company of those who aren't like me, including people of other races. And number 3, I would rather observe than meddle. I would rather observe than meddle. His ideal is number 4, power. Common people crave strong leadership, comma, and I do my utmost to provide it. And you may say, look, that clearly says lawful in parentheses after that ideal. And it clearly says that he is a chaotic neutral character. How can you have a lawful ideal and have a chaotic neutral character? Why couldn't a character who's impulsive still have this thought? People crave a strong leadership. He sees his impulsiveness as adaptability. as a keen mind, not as a short attention span. And so he steps up and he is providing, he is providing that exact same sense of power, even through a chaotic neutral expression. Next up is our bond. Number 1. Ever since I was a child, I've heard stories about a lost city. I aim to find it, learn its secrets, and earn my place in the, history books. He does want fame, especially before he dies, right? Maybe he's realized that. Maybe he's gone through his life saying, you know what, I feel like I didn't know so much. I just started to realize it, and now that I'm on death's doorstep, age-wise, let alone anything else, I want to go and reclaim my heritage. I want to understand it, and so he's going off on an adventure, even if it is his last. Now, his flaw, because we are all flawed creatures. Even this creature right here has flaws. I promise you have flaws. But I love you. Okay. Number 6. I can't sleep except in total darkness. Yeah, look at American and Canadian. A few words are the same, but... Nemi, you say that you are the best demon lord. Other ones are a joke. Well, you know what? If you provide, good health insurance plans to your demonic underlings, you're definitely taking solid steps forward to be a really good demon lord. It's pronounced claws, says Kitty. It's a chimera attacking me. Hi. You say hi to people? There we go. Have them look at your beautiful eyes. No eyes. Can I see a smile? I can't sleep except in total darkness. All right, then. Why is that? It exists now for a reason. We wrote it down. It's a part of our character. Why can't he sleep except in total darkness? Oh, careful on the keyboard, bud. He just flopped down on his side, partially on the keyboard, laying on the little strip of desk between myself and the keyboard itself. All right. So this is what we have for a background. This is who our character is. We can now make decisions about the character based on his personality. We know his race, we know his class, we have his background set. Those are the 3 legs of the stool the character needs to sit on. Kitty needs a vest with dragon head plushie attached to it. You know what? I've tried putting some cat clothes on him, and he and the other one don't really like it that much. We're creating characters as exercises. So Triad, what we do on the channel, we play on Tuesday. What we do on the channel is over the course of a week or 2, we create characters. We'll create a map, maybe a dungeon, some NPCs and bosses. And then at the end of the concept time, we put it all together and present it as an adventure outline. And then after the videos for the week go up, they not only have the videos of each of our lessons, quote unquote, each of our challenges, our storytelling, our prompts, but then the PDFs of the characters, the maps we make, all the resources that we generate on the channel are also posted on our Discord, so you could download it And if you want to run this character, or you want to run the adventure, or, you know, modify something yourself, that you'll have the power to do so and see its origins as we make it as well. Since we are primarily a workshop channel. So, you know, could a character like this show up on our Tuesday game? Perhaps. You know, there's nothing saying that it doesn't. But the inspiration to do this isn't with the express intention of presenting it on our channel. It's a good lesson that if you were to sit down and make a character like this, what would you consider? Or how could you come to terms with having this chaotic neutral character, but really desiring your ideal to be about power, even though it says it's a lawful ideal? A dog version of a chimera, so like Cerberus? All right, now let's go over to the player's handbook and look up tieflings and see what we get by virtue of being a tiefling. Your intelligence and charisma each go. Your intelligence goes up by 1, and charisma by 2. None of those help wisdom, but that's fine. We have a strong mental character. Well, so I mean, if you just want to make a chimera out of anything, then the concept is there. And what's my thoughts on animal folk races? I'm not opposed to them. I know that's a short answer, but if it's appropriate for the game, I'd allow it in my personal games. Ooh, pardon me. Like Loxodon. So yeah, Loxodon would be, because those are like an elephant people. Warforged. You know, I ran with Warforged in my personal campaign world for quite some time, and you know, I changed the flavor, and I also changed the appearance of them and how they're made. But we took the stat blocks and we used it, so it was really kind of a reskin to add some flavor. It was a reskin to add flavor to the world and have this other race be appropriately introduced into it. All right, we have our age, we have our size. We do get 60 feet of dark vision because we have specialize. We have resistance to fire damage. So we'll just click the box up here in immunities, resistances, and vulnerabilities. After that, we have Infernal Legacy, where we are going to learn the Thaumaturgy cantrip. I'm going to put IL, and that is the source for Thaumaturgy. Once we reach 3rd level, we'll know Hellish Rebuke, and at 5th level, we would get... Once you reach 3rd level, you can cast the Hellish Rebuke spell once per day. As a 2nd level spell, once you reach 5th level, so we're not quite there yet. You can also cast the Darkness spell once per day, and Charisma is our spell casting ability for that. So we'll put a note here. Infernal Legacy, Hellish Rebuke off of Charisma at level 2. That way we know it will just go off at this level. And then Common and Infernal, we already have that written down. And there we go. That's what you get for being a tiefling. It almost sounds like a moral at the end of something. That's what you get for being a tiefling. Catbutt. Oh, Catbutt. Yes, indeed, Azrael. I got a question for you and a few other people. Well, go ahead and ask, Demon. Yes, indeed, Azrael. He is, in fact, a cunning linguist. Now let's make a cleric. Hey, everyone likes a cleric. Everyone really likes a cleric in their party. That's for certain. All right, level 4. Ta-da-da-da. We have 4 level 1 spell slots and 3 level 2 spell slots. We are going to know 4 cantrips. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4. Plus 2 is our proficiency modifier. We are going to get some proficiencies. Now, at level 1, you get your archetype. Like, you get your domain. And we ended up getting nature. So I'm gonna peek ahead and see what that gives us at level 1. If it's extra armor or martial weapons or something like that. I can't imagine with nature it will, though. Alright, Gods of Nature. You learn 1 druid cantrip of your choice. You also gain proficiency in one of the following skills: animal handling, nature, or survival. I think... Nature could be important to this character. And we'll get a druid cantrip, so we're going to put Acolyte of Nature, and then we'll get that. All right. Oh, bonus proficiency. We also gain proficiency with heavy armor. So that is going to give us all and shields for armor. We are a D8 hit die class. So as we're level 4, we have 4 D8 hit die. All simple weapons. No tool proficiencies. Wisdom and Charisma are the saves in which we have proficiency. Choose 2 from History: Insight, Medicine, Persuasion, and Religion. Let's see. Well, we have Insight and History and Religion. So I guess that would just leave Medicine and Persuasion. So that works. Well, not Perception. Medicine. There we go. That's the right one. All right, we're going to get some starting weapons. We're going to get a mace, as we're not proficient with a warhammer. We will get scale mail because we can handle heavy armor. A light crossbow and 20 bolts or any simple weapon? Sure. Light crossbow. Down here, quiver with 20 arrows. Oh, priest's pack or an explorer's pack? Strong leadership. Knowledge, religion. Probably using his faith as a base to also get converts. Assert dominance with a priest's pack. And a shield. So we're going to click that and a holy symbol. That's how you cast your powers. All right. What else? We get spell casting. I'm not going to worry about that right now. We are going to get channel divinity. The first is going to be turn undead. The second will be provided to us by our domain, and sometimes a third, depending. And nothing really past 4. Like at 4, we get our ASI. Fluff has returned. Yes, we're building a nature cleric. All right, a chaotic neutral male tiefling who is an anthropologist who is adopted by dwarves, at least culturally. And he's traveling with our other characters here to look at his roots. Like we were talking about that, right? He's at the end of his life. He's 75 years old. He had this inspiration that he needed to go and find himself. He needed to uncover his people, find relics, and understand who he is before he's no longer around. And with everything that we genned up, this is the story we're telling. Oh, hey, Plunder Loot, welcome also. It is trust. Yeah, so we have a Plunder Loot and a Trust-a-Flump. No new pulls. I started making a character. There was some plotting, there was some talking, but no one has pulled the trigger on boxes yet. So if you want one, you can pick it up. Plunder Loot. We did get in Tomb of Annihilation. These are my final 2 boxes out of the first brick, and I have another sealed brick ready to go after this. You've never seen it done in detail in a real campaign? Well, hey, I'm glad we're accidentally doing it on purpose. Well, Elbrin, I mean, hey, keep watching those ads, and you know what? I'll restock Tomb of Annihilation as often as I can. So in 2 weeks, I may very well have more. Nemi is bored, sadly. Yeah, welcome aboard, Haw. I hope that you're enjoying our role-playing. I hope you're enjoying our storytelling. All right, Nature Domain. We are going to get some spells. Cleric's cast off of Wisdom. Cleric spells prepared equals. And we'll calculate that once we start getting that stuff. Cantrip, we have Infernal Legacy is giving us Thaumaturgy. And we also have 2 fulls. All right, so I have a sealed brick of Dragon Heist, and I have these last 2 of Tomb of Annihilation. I have 4 boxes left of well, so that'd be a little bit outside that full range, but I have 2 boxes left of Storm King's Thunder, and then I have a sealed brick of it still, and I have 4 boxes of Ravnica and only 2 boxes left of Monster Menagerie 2. All right, so being a... what did I list this as? AON. All right. I like identifying where the spells are coming from here. We're going to get some kind of a druid cantrip. That we can have it be what we'd like. Now, nature domain, and by the way, we have 4 and 3 here. We are going to get a domain. We're going to get 2 domain spells per tier. Animal friendship and speak with mammonals. 1 each of TOA and Storm King's Thunder. Storm King's Thunder is going to be more pricey if you want to go full on it. You'd have to throw in $4 more if you want a full Storm King's Thunder plunder loot. Otherwise, you could get 2 fulls of Tomb, Ravnica, Monster Menagerie 2, or Dragon Heist. And I haven't busted open the Dragon Heist yet, so it's still a sealed brick, and you could choose which box you want out of that brick. We are also going to get Bark Skin and Spike Growth. This guy's going to be very handy with the other characters we're making for this adventure that we're plotting. And then on top of that, for our cantrips, at this level, we know 4 cantrips. 2, 3, 4. 2 partials of Monster Menagerie. Okay. So with... gotcha. All right. So the Monster Menagerie 2, you want first dibs on each of them, and then you want a full Storm King's Thunder and a full Tomb of Annihilation. Am I correct on that? And if so, I'll pull them and we'll get going. We're almost finished with this character as well. Now, the Channel Divinity we get to complement Turn Undead is Charm, Animals, and Plants. You can use your Chandiv as an action. You present your holy symbol and invoke the name of your deity. Each beast or plant creature that can see within 30 feet of you must make a wisdom saving throw. If the creature fails its saving throw, it's charmed by you for 1 minute or until it takes damage. While charmed by you, it is friendly to you and other creatures you designate. So we can repel undead and attract animals and plants. And we're not quite high enough yet to get dampen elements. But this is... nature clerics, I don't know... This is anecdotal or just a suspicion. I don't think nature clerics get played all that often. And they have some really cool stuff that you can use. Now, it's not directly, destroy undead or something. That's a lot more common. But if you're observant and you ask questions, like, look around you. There's vegetation and animals everywhere, even if you don't see it. So, think about it. It makes for more interaction with the campaign and the story. And honestly, that makes you more powerful than just spells that deal damage. Because you are becoming an even more active participant in the storytelling process. So, think about that. Your presence is populating the world even more with plants and animals and purpose, and you can use these in various ways. All right, Plunder Loot says Yavol. All right, then. Oh, no. A 7 and a 1. But you know what? You have advantage. So... Unless that was for something else. Well, you know where I prefer my power, says Derek. All right, so we have this built up, this character. It's now time to drop in stats. So we have our standard array, and instead of the ASI, the ability score improvement, we're going to give him a feat. And I think I know what feat to give him. It'll be a common one, but it'll be super appropriate for him, I think. Let's see. We're a wise old man. And we're relying on heavy armor to get us through. I don't think... Look, we could really play to the fact he's 75. His physical stats aren't going to be all that good. So he might have some old man strength, so we can give him a 10. Maybe his dexterity's an 8. And his constitution will be a 12. Unless we want to make him a little stronger, right? If he has a mace. He has a light crossbow, but he's kind of shaky in using it. But I don't know, if he's lived this long, he probably has a higher constitution. And so now here we have a 13, a 14, and a 14. Because if we want to make his wisdom high, well, let's do what we can. And then we'll go 13 intelligence and 14 charisma. Unless, do we want to put that there? No, I think look, he is a very charismatic person. I prefer the company of those who aren't like me, including people of other races. He's an anthropologist. He really needs to get by with other people. I think the high charisma is going to work out really well. So this is going to be the 13. So now, adding in our racial modifiers, that's going to be a 14 intelligence, and that's going to be a 16 charisma. Now we need to give him a feat. So if we come over here and class, open up your books to chapter 6, which talks about multi-classing and feats. The one that really jumps out at me, it could be actor. It could be actor. Or it could be linguist. And if not linguist, observant. Increase your int or wisdom by 1 if you can see a creature's mouth while it's speaking a language you understand, which this adept linguist really gives us mechanical or implied storytelling benefits to super maximize this feat. And we have a +5 bonus to your passive wisdom and intelligence. I think observant is definitely, like, this just seems to be made for a character like this. Now, if you have another feat that you would want to suggest, please do so. And we can consider that. That's going to pump up his wisdom to 16 at level 4 here. And so now we have a charisma of 3, wisdom of 3, int of 2, con of 1, dex at -1, and strength at 0. And now, strength is 0 and 0. Dex, we're just going to copy and paste the -1 all the way across the board. Constitution at least has a 1 here. Intelligence is 2 down the line, except nature and religion, which is going to be 4 and 4. Because he's a wise old man. 3, 3, 3, animal handling, perception, survival. 5, 5, and 5 for the saving throw, insight, and medicine. 5 for the saving throw of charisma and persuasion, and then 3, 3, and 3 for the other skills. Now that we have that, our spell attacks are going to be at a +5 because we are proficient with magic. I really hope so. And then we add 8 to that because that is the number that was determined to be added to your spell attack to get your spell save DC. In other words, that's the number that an enemy has to meet or beat to escape or avoid all or part of your effects of your spell. If we're fighting with a strength weapon, maybe this was his old mace. Look, the old gray mare just ain't what she used to be. Ain't what she used to be. Ain't what she used to be. But you know what? This was his old bonkin mace back in the day. He and the boys would go, you know, they take their Chevy to the levee, even though the levee was dry. And they were drinking whiskey and rye. But you know, he still has his mace, and so he's swinging it at a +2. He's proficient with it, but he just doesn't have the muscles anymore, being this old man. Look, this is his last adventure, and I think he's made peace with that. And I'll tell you, you want something powerful for a character, for inspiration or purpose? It's that realization, right? It's a bit of a fatalism. Like, I'm old. If I live through this, how much longer? I'm just gonna go and do it. Why not? What do I have to lose? I'm crazy. Light crossbow is going to be at a +1. He's a little shaky. That's going to be 1d8 -1 damage. Piercing. And the mace is going to be 1d6 +0 damage. Bludgeoning. Our passive perception is going to be 10 plus our modifier of 3 plus another 5 from our feet. So his passive perception is 18. He may be becoming more physically feeble, but he's still got his noodle with him. And so really from here, the only other details to work out would be his spells. But of course, clerics, except for the domain spells, you change those up every day. Now, the number of spells he can take, we can insert into this as well. Oh, that's +5. The number of spells you can prepare as a cleric is your number of cleric levels plus your charisma modifier. So in this case, he can prepare 7 spells. So between first and second level spells, you wake up in the morning, you pray to your nature god, and you fill in the additional spells to what you already get through your domain. Bada bing, bada bang, bada boom, there you go, forget about it. These other ones we've identified is where he's getting these other spells. His domain, Infernal Legacy is giving him a second level Hellish Rebuke once per day. Or once per long rest. And, Thaumaturgy from Infernal Legacy and from Acolyte of Nature, we're getting a druid cantrip of our choice. And lastly, we do get Channel Divinity. Channel Divinity at this level, I think, is only once per day. Yeah, it's not until level 6 that we get it 2 times. So it's Chan Div once. It's a shorter long rest, so it's, I guess, rest. You could just call it any rest. And so there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Now, look, choosing his cantrips, especially his druid, could continue to flesh him out, because remember, a spell sheet is a diary of the character. I think, though, we have... I'm sorry. Initiative is -1. I forgot that. 16 plus his shield gives him an 18 AC also, because he can wear heavy armor. And being this, he has 30 feet of run, 15 climb, 15 swim, 0 fly. Oh, shoot, and I forgot the hit points. 8 at first level. He's a D8 hit die class. So you get maximum at first level. The other 3, you get half +1, so that's 5. And then for every level, all 8 of them, you get bonus hit points equal to your con mod. So there's our calculation. So we have 8 and 15. So we have 31 hit points at level 4. Not too bad, right? Especially for a wizened old timer. All he needs is a name. Now, he is Tiefling. We did determine he favors his human side somehow. Genetically, culturally, a mix. Something along those lines. But he was also adopted by dwarves. Culturally, or maybe, he was born to, a human and a fiend. So he's like a first-generation Tiefling. But he has a lot of more human traits than Tiefling or something, however you want to do that. And the dwarves might know some human customs, especially more than fiendish. So he may have been kind of like raised in that environment. Like Worf's son. Why am I derping on Worf's son's name? But anyway, so maybe he's been given a dwarven name or a dwarven nickname, despite being a tiefling that favors humans. Hey, Plague Doctor, welcome. Sorry, I just looked up here because you all have been really going on adventures here. Well, if you want to battle or duel people, Nemi, you're welcome to do so. They can accept or reject. Well, a battle is against a wandering monster. You can duel people in chat if you want to, Nemi. Yes, you just did notice bird sounds. We have some ambiance going on in the background. Why are you trying to drown a dryad? You can drown a tree. Quoteth orc barbarian. Says Derek. All right, so I'm open for a name. You're gonna lurk for a bit. All right, hey, Plague Doctor, lurk away.